appreciate any of you guys who do that. For me, it is absolutely amazing for helping me create content. It means a lot to me, so shout out to you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. Again, I don't really say names of people who comment because obviously, like, privacy reasons, some people have like their whole names or different names on here that probably don't want to be known. So I'm just gonna, if you see your name or know your comment, that's what I meant to say. Then shout out to you. You're awesome. But we're gonna be talking about teams that next season have the most, or at least a lot, to prove this upcoming NBA season. Yesterday, if you didn't see it, we were talking about individual players who have the most to prove in this upcoming season. So if you haven't watched yesterday's video, this is kind of a part 2 of that. So make sure you click, and watch that video as well. Thank you guys so much for all the support you guys give me. I always say that in all my videos because it's what it is, obviously, and also because it's been Thanksgiving, so I'm just giving thanks, you know. Like the video. I really love the support. Let's get this video to 70 likes. Get this video hit 70 likes. I think that's a pretty nice number. 7 is definitely a very lucky number as well. Yeah, subscribe if you keep wanting to subscribe. Comment down below, maybe some other fun ideas, topics we can talk about on this channel, maybe other ideas. I know I'm going to be doing my last top 10 video tomorrow, the top 10 point guards in the NBA for this upcoming season, so watch that tomorrow. I will be doing a jersey review video on the new upcoming jerseys for this upcoming season. There are a lot of things in the works still, so keep that in mind as well. So, yeah, I guess we can finally get started on this video. Okay, so right now on my phone, I have some of the comments of what you guys have thought were teams that would need a lot or maybe even the most to prove for this upcoming NBA season. I have some in my own head, and I'm sure you guys have probably said some of your own. I guess I can just go through them, I guess. This person said 100% the Clippers have much to prove. That's a good start to the video. Arguably the, top team last year. I mean, the Bucks had the number 1 record in the entire league, but I think we all probably would have agreed that the Clippers had the deepest team and maybe the most talented team in the NBA last season. And falling to the second round exit that they had definitely left a lot of people with a bad taste in their mouth, and especially me, because I thought we were going to get that battle of a matchup and we're going to see some amazing basketball being played. We still did, but it wasn't with that. Big shout out to Denver overcoming those 3-1 deficits. That's absolutely amazing. Do I think if it wasn't in a bubble, that would have happened? Probably not, because you have to put in travel and away games and not having a routine and things like that. So I'm sure the bubble definitely helped Denver do that, but again, it still happened. So Denver with 2 amazing MVP caliber players when they want to be in Paul George, which he was in 2019, the 2018-2019 season. Played amazing. He was an amazing player. This past season, he played good. He's like a solid player, can be an all-star type player, but with Paul George, it's really hard to really see how well he's doing because he plays with a player who plays just like him, but just better. So it's kind of weird, that pairing together. But the Clippers as a whole, man, I think they do have something to prove. They have a little bit to prove that they're not just one of these amazing, great regular season teams, and then when it comes to the playoffs, they can't make it. We've seen those throughout the years. I really don't think that's who they are, but again, I do think they need to prove it. And this upcoming year, they kept their core. They have Lou and Pat Bev, Kawhi, Paul George. They still have a lot of good guys on that team that were with them last year, but they also have a new coaching staff. They also lost some important pieces. They also gained some new pieces. So, to an extent, it's a new team again. Last year, new team. That was their excuse. This year, new team. Is that going to be their excuse again if they don't win it out? I have no idea, but we're definitely going to have to see on that. Do I think they can still, win the championship, be an amazing team in the playoffs, this, that, and the other? Absolutely. I love Kawhi Leonard's game. George is an amazing player. I trust Ty Lue and his new coaching staff, but can this be another dud season where the Clippers are like a fifth, fourth seed, and maybe get matched up to a really tough matchup? Like, I think Denver going into this next year are even a better team with a more developed, obviously team, because they're still a pretty young group of guys. So if they face off against them again, if they face off against a hungry Dallas Mavericks team or even the LA Lakers, that's going to be really tough. And it's really, really, really going to come down to, can they prove themselves to be, stepping up to that plate and be clutch and do all those things that we're hoping them to be. I have no idea, but that's definitely going to be something to prove, at least in my opinion. And obviously, like I said before, you can say, oh, Kawhi Leonard has to prove, or Paul George has to prove. That's very true, but I think the Clippers as a whole definitely need to prove a little bit. This person said, the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler still need to show that last year's finals appearance wasn't just a fluke. They can do it again, and Jimmy needs to show that he can play like finals Jimmy all season. That is true. I do feel like a lot of people feel like, I don't know why I said that twice, that the Miami Heat wouldn't have made the NBA Finals if it wasn't for the bubble. Do I believe that? I think it helped them for sure, but I don't want to say they couldn't, because obviously their matches up against all the teams they went up against all favored Miami, like the defensive matchups between Giannis and Miami, and the defensive sort of capability that they had over the Boston Celtics won them out on that. So I can't say that Miami is still a very talented team, so I don't want to say that, oh, they only did that because it was the bubble. I think they did that because they're an amazing team, plus having that consistent playing, over and over again in the same sort of environment also really helped them out. So I don't think they really have a whole lot to prove, but I do feel like they have a lot of eyes on them now, and I think they should sort of stand up to a lot of these Eastern Conference teams, like the 76ers, Boston Celtics, the teams that they beat and were over on, that they can be better than them. Does that mean they have to be the number one record in the East? Definitely not, but a top 4 seed, I think yes. Do they have the capability of that? Absolutely. So I think they do have to prove something, that they're still the Eastern Conference champions, be respected as so, and not just because, oh, it was the bubble and it doesn't really matter, but it's that and the other. So I think that's definitely very important. And they also were talking about Jimmy Butler, and I don't think Jimmy Butler has to prove anything. I think we all know how good Jimmy Butler is. At least people who watch NBA basketball know that. I don't think Jimmy Butler needs to play like finals Jimmy Butler all season. I mean, that's like asking LeBron to play like finals LeBron all season. That just doesn't happen. That's like, they're locked in. That's like their apex, like peak basketball performances. We saw Jimmy's, and that's amazing. That's an amazing player. That player can win a championship for sure, how well he plays. So I think that was really good seeing Jimmy get to that level, because now think about free agency and players who are going to be free agents in the upcoming years in Miami who have cap space. Wow, look how amazing Jimmy Butler is. He's putting up triple doubles in the finals against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Wow, if I was on that team, I could really help provide an extra oomph to that team. A la I don't know, like a Giannis, or maybe even if, I don't know, Bradley Beal finds his way out of there, or John Wall finds his way out of there, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, somehow another player sees that with Jimmy and wants to be a part of it because of his play style and how well he played at his peak. I think that really helped out Miami. So I think as a whole team, do they need to prove something? Yes, I feel like they need to prove that they can be the Eastern Conference champions, that they are, and they need to prove that with a really solid regular season. And I don't think they really need to, obviously be the best team in the East, have the number 1 record, but beating out amazing teams is probably going to be a good thing in my opinion. Yeah, more people are just saying the Clippers, because obviously the Clippers are definitely one of the teams I would say have maybe the most to prove in my opinion. This person said the Bucks, of course, but under a rated option. Oh, but an underrated option would be the Hawks. Yeah, that's definitely very true. We talked about that last video with Trae Young finally having a good core of guys around him that is a very capable playoff team. 7th, 8th seed for sure. I think they can beat out Orlando. I think they can beat out a lot of different other teams. Maybe even the Pacers this year if they fall out. So it's gonna be very interesting to see like how well the Hawks can do. But they were first talking about the Bucks, and that's definitely more of a playoff sort of proving than a regular season proving. So I mean, if the Bucks make, I mean, they probably will be the #1 team in the East again this year because they're basically the same team, but with Drew Holiday, which is obviously a better version of Eric Bledsoe. So I think they'll be fine. I think they'll still be an amazing top 4 seed in the East for sure. But for them, it's mostly proving it when it counts. So proving it when they're playing against the Lakers in the regular season, proving it when they're playing against, Eastern Conference rivals, true, rivals to the sort of Eastern Conference Finals champions, like a Miami, Philly, Boston team. If they can go out and beat them, boom, 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 over and over and over again in the regular season, that's awesome. But then also applying that to the playoffs and rolling like they should be. They almost won and probably were going to win 70 games last year, which is absolutely insane. They're going to be at least a mid-60, high 60 team for sure. So I think the Bucks, for their proving, would have to prove it in the playoffs. And that obviously comes down to Giannis, which is another player I could have said in my last video, but I didn't because that's kind of a no-brainer because Giannis is a back-to-back MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year who can't get out of the second round of the playoffs. That sounds pretty tough, in my opinion. So it definitely is going to come down to obviously the Bucks as a team in the playoffs. But pinpointed again, Giannis in the playoffs is going to have to prove it, and he definitely improved a lot this past season from the season before, adding a pretty reliable jump shot, like a 30%-ish jump shot, and that becomes more reliable. Is he quicker with his ball handling and being able to create off the dribble? That's terrifying. That's no fair to the league whatsoever. So, hey man, if Giannis comes into this next season locked in and ready to really put it all in, that's awesome. I think they can definitely make it the finals this year for sure. But if he doesn't, or if the team plays bad around Giannis, he might be out. So it's really going to be a very tough, proving for the Bucks, because if they don't win it out, in my opinion, at least a finals, not a finals, an Eastern Conference final, I think Giannis walks, and that's pretty terrifying if you're a Bucks fan. Oh, this is a good one. 76ers, obviously, they have to prove that they're not a first-round knockout every year. They have to use their talent to their advantage. Yes, that's very true. Definitely the 76ers are, again, a sort of like a Bucks team where it's mostly in the playoffs that they have to prove that they're not just a really good team. There are a lot of really good teams in the NBA, but they need to diversify themselves. I think that's how you say it. I think I used it right. From the rest of the pack of the Eastern Conference and be an elite, finals contending team like the Bucks or the Boston Celtics. Sorry, going brain dead, but that's going to be very interesting to see if they can actually do it. So the Sixers, obviously, with Ben Simmons, who, again, spoiling from last video, but a player we talked about having a lot to prove this upcoming season. I feel like he's going to make a big jump, and he has to prove that he could be maybe even a top 10 player in next year's NBA, which is going to be super duper insane. I might do a video on that. Yeah. And it's also going to come down to, can Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid play together? They finally have their shooting team. They have Seth Curry, who's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA, no doubt. Danny Green, who obviously had a very big slump in the playoffs, in the finals last year for sure, but I feel like he has a little bit left in the motor, and I feel like playing with a more well-rounded team might help him a little bit better. I think Danny Green had a lot of sort of, how do I say this, responsibility on the Lakers. Yeah, he was arguably the player that they threw at their other team's best player, and I don't think he's going to be doing that a lot in Philly, so I think he's going to have a better role for himself there, and he's going to have a really good, obviously, probably better time without Al Horford clogging the paint a lot, so, with the Ben Simmons game, so, yeah, I think this is their year, and if they don't get it done, they is this okay? Is this fine? Is us just being a good team good enough? And it's really going to be tough because it's either that or maybe Ben Simmons walks, or maybe Ben Simmons does this, or Joel Embiid does that, and then it's really, 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 really messy, and you get nothing in return. So it's very terrifying if you're a Sixers fan, because this year is the make or break year, 1,000%. I really think so. Daryl Morey is a trading, like he plays 2K. Like he looks like he plays 2K because he makes trades a lot, and he loves to do it, especially if you saw from the Houston Rockets sort of era that they had with him. He loves to make trades, so if they don't get it done, bro, I think you can get a very nice package for Joel Embiid right now, especially if he has a good season. It doesn't get hurt, obviously gonna knock on wood for that. It's gonna be very interesting to see that. So, I think they have a lot to prove. And again, they're like a Bucks team where it's gonna come to the playoffs, and individual players like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I'm very excited to see how the team they put together this year, a better shooting team, will help out Ben Simmons' game, will help out Joel Embiid and kick outs and things like that. So, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. Oh, this person said some hot take teams that maybe not be listed a lot would be maybe the Utah Jazz and how poorly they played in the playoffs, giving up a 3-1 lead. That's a good one for sure. They also said that the Raptors, yeah, I think Raptors might be a good one. Because obviously, they're always listed as being one of the best teams, but not really giving it a good chance, obviously, without having Kawhi Leonard. So maybe that's a good one as well. Dang, yeah, maybe Utah. Is Utah actually a good pick? Oh, they also said the Pacers. I didn't read that. Okay, the Pacers or Utah. I think I like those two teams a lot more than the other ones that they said. I think the Pacers maybe have a little bit more to prove. I think we all know how good Utah can be, but they're definitely a very good regular season team when it comes to the playoffs. I don't think they have enough oomph to their team yet, because I love the duo of Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, but when it comes to playoff basketball, you need more oomph than a Rudy Gobert, in my opinion. Now, Rudy Gobert is an amazing player, is an all-star type player, but I think he can honestly only be maybe like the third option to like a very good championship contending team. I think that the point in offensive output he gives isn't enough in today's NBA. Now, if Rudy Gobert was playing in the 2000s, my God, he would be, one of the best players in the league for sure. Defensive player of the year over and over and over and over and over again, in my opinion. But in today's NBA, it's very hard to have a very good output when it comes to that player. But he does enough, that's for sure. But you have a god of a player in Donovan Mitchell who can go out there and score 50 points in a playoff game. But I think he needs more help still. So I think they're going to have to prove that they can still win with that duo, because they just signed Donovan Mitchell to a max contract deal. And if they still can't get it done, oh my God, do you think they might move on from Gobert if they don't get it done this year? Like, say they have another first round exit, which I think they have a lot of. Sorry to your Utah Jazz fans, but I think they might move on from Rudy Gobert and go maybe not small ball, but maybe not have such a big center as Rudy Gobert. So because he does play a very sort of prehistoric game, like a lot of other centers do in today's NBA. He can't pass. He's not a good facilitator. He can't shoot the ball. So with all those things adding up, he's just a really good defensive center who can get a lot of putbacks, basically. So maybe they will get rid of him if they can't get it done, but I think they're going to have to prove that they can still win with that duo. So that's one thing to prove for them. For the Pacers, I think that's also a pretty interesting one, because it looked like you guys were going for a rebuild. I kept hearing rumors over and over and over again about Victor Oladipo, Miles Turner. Oh my God, are they going to go super rebuild and trade Sabonis for a pick or this, that, and the other? I've seen those things. But nothing happened. They kept the same core group. Victor Oladipo came out and said that he doesn't want to get traded. He wants to play for Indiana, which is awesome. That's great. But now they're going to have to prove that they can win, and that this and them not splitting it up is a good thing. Now, obviously, this upcoming draft is supposedly supposed to be a deeper draft with better players than this year's draft. So Pacers, get knocked out of the first round and don't make the playoffs, then I am very much looking forward to them trading away pieces for draft picks, because I feel like that will happen. Because this year's draft wasn't anything crazy. Obviously, we had Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, LaMelo Ball, but next year is supposed to be a better draft. So, I mean, if they fail again and can't prove that they can win with this core group of guys, Oladipo, TJ, Sabonis, Turner, Brogdon, then it might be time to blow it up. So, I feel like this is their one last chance to prove that they can win basketball with this core group of guys. Can they do it? No. I feel like they're going to fail and they're going to blow it up. The East, like I said, is just getting better, and Miami's better, the Nets are better, Bucks are better, Philly's better, maybe even Toronto is better. Probably, yeah, they're better. Some other teams I'm probably not listing off and thinking of right now are better, so there's like 6 or 7 teams that are just definitely better than them, so they can definitely sneak into like an 8th, 7th spot for sure. But other than that, I think it might be time, because you have a great player in Sabonis, who obviously they're going to keep. I feel like you do keep Brogdon as well. Other than that, and TJ Warren. I think TJ Warren is a very good scoring option for sure. I feel like you keep those 3 guys who could play well in any system, and you look elsewhere for other players, because you also have a new coach who knows how well he's going to coach that team, how he wants to coach that team. It's very important. So I feel like if they can't prove it this year, you gotta ship out Turner, you gotta ship out Oladipo, get assets back, get draft picks, get young players who are good, and make that rebuild, because you're not gonna win a championship in the next 3 to 5 years with Sabonis being your best player. That's just not gonna happen. He needs help. And Oladipo's really good, but he's not gonna be that player, and he can't really be that player anymore because of injury, things like that. Turner definitely is not, and Brogdon doesn't do enough on offense to do that. So I think the Pacers and Utah are 2 very interesting teams going into next year that have a lot to prove, as well as the other teams I mentioned before. So yeah, okay, I'm probably only going to do a couple more because a lot of these are kind of repetitive. One of them other Suns, yeah, I would say the Bucks or Suns have the most to prove. Both teams are super high hopes and stacked up their roster. I feel like if they don't live up to expectations, then they might not be good for them. Maybe even Giannis leaving Milwaukee. Thanks for the man. Yeah, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, we talked about a little bit about the Suns in the last video, talking about Devin Booker. Again, spoiling for my last video. Being a player who I feel like has a lot to prove this upcoming season. Finally have a great team pretty much built around him with an amazing leader and Chris Paul, who can help be the voice of the team, but Devin Booker being the best player on the team. You have good players around you. The team is a lot deeper than it was last year, but still probably not deep enough to make a very hard push for a playoff spot, but will still be an amazing team for sure. Oh my god, could you imagine all this hype around the Suns and they don't make the playoffs? My god. It's a very big possibility, because obviously, I mean, Chris Paul played last year very well, but again, you have to say this every year. He's another year older, so you don't know what he's going to be up to next season. The team, like I just said, isn't that deep. They have good players like Cam and McCall Bridges, and obviously Ayton is an amazing player when he can be and wants to be. But your power forward position is pretty meh right now. It's nothing very crazy, so that's a starter. That's not very great. McCall Bridges or Cam Johnson, that's probably going to be maybe even both of them starting. Do you really want that? I'm not entirely sure. That's not very great defense, in my opinion, besides McCall, who's a really good perimeter defender, no doubt about it. But and then after that, off their bench they have, I think they have Aaron Baines, and that's really all I can think of is like a really capable, like for sure rotation piece that's really good. So they're maybe 5-6 men deep that are strong, so that's terrifying. But hey, they're getting hype. I've seen people say they're one of the best backcourts in the NBA in the Western Conference. There are people saying that they're a better backcourt than Dame and CJ, which, if you believe that, I'll pray for you, because that's a crazy thought. But again, that's other people's opinions, so I guess I can't really say anything about that. But it's a good backcourt, but they're gonna have to prove it. They're really gonna have to prove it, and I'm very excited because I think they can. Because Devin Booker is a god at basketball. I love watching him play. He's one of my favorite players to watch. Chris Paul played last year very well with I don't want to say a similar player to Devin Booker, because obviously Devin Booker is head and shoulders above Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but he still played with an amazing ball-dominant guard. And he's playing again Steph Curry, Draymond Green. I think those players individually have a lot to prove. Maybe not the Warriors as a whole, not anymore. Before the season or before Klay Thompson got hurt, I think definitely they had a lot to prove, but maybe not now anymore. The Pelicans, I think they're still too young, so I won't say that. Maybe individually you could say that Zion has a lot to prove because it's going to be a full season of healthy Zion with a new coach who I feel like was going to play him a lot, so he's going to have more playing time to sort of convince people that he is this amazing player and maybe the next, generational talent like LeBron was, which a lot of people have compared him to. So, but they're still really young, so I don't think I'll say the Pelicans. But all the other teams you said, absolutely yes, have a lot to prove. One I didn't see that I think I'll say, and then maybe I'll wrap up the video on that is, oh man, I think maybe Portland. I think Portland has a lot to prove. I think people really, I know I'm not saying that because you obviously see that big freaking banner of Portland behind me, but they do have a lot to prove, and I'm always a pessimist when it comes to the Blazers because they always make me sad. But people are saying that this is arguably the best team that they ever had, or surrounding Dame with obviously CJ being another good year in, still being a really good player, Yusuf Nurkic being a really good player, again another year in, finally really setting himself as a good role, and obviously, knock on wood, injury free. That's the biggest thing on Portland. But if Portland has a healthy season, which I think they will, I'm knocking on wood, please God, don't jinx this, but if they have a healthy season and they still are, a bottom feeder, 8th, 9th, 7th seed, that's gonna be very sad because again, I've just been reading a lot of articles, watching ESPN a lot. People are saying that this is the best team that the Blazers have had. So with that being said, the Blazers have made the Western Conference Finals with the team before. If the Blazers are a bottom feeder team with this team, that's gonna look really bad on Dame and the entire franchise. So I'll throw in the Blazers there being a team that has a lot to prove for sure. Obviously adding, Robert Covington, Derrick Jones Jr., having a pretty good, decent center, he at least was when he played for us, and Enes Kanter. That's 3 very good rotation pieces that you're adding to a very good team. Re-signing Rodney Hood, who is healthy, again knocking on wood. Re-signing Carmelo Anthony. That's 5 players you're adding to already a really solid team. So this is by far the deepest team Portland has ever had. This is by far the best on paper defensive team Portland has ever had. And if they whiff it again like they did last year, obviously last year was through injury, but let's just say they have a very healthy season and they're still bottom feeding. That's really sad, and it's gonna be people are gonna be begging for Dame to get traded and get out of there. So I think Portland has to prove that they can actually win with Dame. Dame isn't wasting his career, and I feel like it's gonna be a very good season for Portland at least. And I guess we're just gonna have to prove it out. But yeah, I guess that's basically all I got from here. A lot of you guys have sort of said the same stuff, which is amazing. I think we're all in sort of same wavelength on teams, so that's really good. I tried to think of some other teams, like I said, like Portland is one that no one really said. I think Toronto is a very interesting one because Toronto has always been thrown around as being one of the best teams in the East. Well, this year the East is just getting better now with the Nets being back to top tier shape, and if the Raptors get unlucky, they could find themselves out of the playoffs. So I'm very going to be watching them a lot. But yeah, it's definitely another team. I could probably think of some other ones right now, but I think I'm going to wrap up this video. So thank you guys so much for participating. You guys are awesome. I love you guys so much. That was a lot of fun and a lot of fun to talk about. So I really hope you're doing well. I really hope you're relaxing or found this entertaining in some way. And yeah, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you again in another video very soon. Alright guys,